Well, good morning, everyone. It's Zach Grantham with 93.1 Katy Country, and we also have Big Dave from Mad Rock 1025 here, and we're so happy to be able to do these Teacher of the Month announcements virtually on our Facebook pages, also our YouTube channels, and also at 931camkt.com and madrock1025.com. And this is fantastic, Dave, being able to do these teacher interviews online. I know that you're a big fan of doing everything online. You're the tech guy between the both of us.
Yeah, typically. I mean, these things are awesome. I mean, and this is, you got to think about it though. Before, when we did these interviews, the teachers that we'd interview, they'd have to get somebody to watch their class, and some of them, come from Southern Oklahoma and different places, had to travel a long way to get to our studios, and now they can just be at their school and log on and do these virtual live streams when we do our announcements each month. And of course, none of this would be possible without our awesome Katy Country and Mad Rock Teacher of the Year program sponsors. And that is Pediatric Dentistry of Sherman, our friends at Night Furniture and Mattress. Yeah, we've got them on our banners back here behind us. And also Parkway, Buick, GMC. So we appreciate each and every one of our sponsors who make this possible. And that, whenever you have these types of online virtual things, sometimes you have some technical, I think they're called glitches. We'll let Mrs. Ryan But anyway, our Teacher of the Month this year for October, Zach, I'm going to let you go ahead and do the introduction.
Yeah, let's talk to her right now, Dave. It's Deborah Ryan from Wakefield Elementary School within the Sherman ISD, and she is our October Teacher of the Month, and she is a first grade teacher. Mrs. Ryan, how are you today?
I am very well.
So I feel like that
both of you.
We have an experienced virtual veteran here with us this morning, because you actually are doing the virtual learning over there.
Oh, I am. I'm doing virtual first grade.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you're having to do, because I know it's quite a bit different than what you normally do in the classroom.
It is so different. First off, I did not even know how to make a Google slide when I started. So I have learned so much. My parents and kids have learned so much. So since we got through our first 4 weeks of getting all the technical issues worked out, there isn't that much difference now between our virtual class and the face-to-face, with the interaction with the kids and getting to know all the kids and parents.
Awesome. Mrs. Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long you've been with the school districts, and how long you've been teaching, and what do you like most about the virtual learning?
My goodness, I have taught, this is my 31st year to teach. This was my 16th year at Wakefield in Sherman. I taught at Whitewright before. What I like most about the virtual, oh my goodness, that is a tough question. What I like most about it.
I bring the heat, Deborah.
You did. You know why? I think what I like most is getting to know the kids in a different way, because you know them in the classroom and you get close to the kids. But when we're doing virtual, I have one young lady that has Sledge next to her. Sledge is her black and white boxer. So you get to know the kids in a different way, being with them in their home and then at school.
So I bet it's really easy to do show and tell. Do you still do that in first grade, show and tell stuff?
Oh my goodness. They just started show and tell. I mean, someone will bring something and then we'll just stop for our meeting, or stop our lesson for our meeting. But we've gotten where in the classroom, we would always begin our mornings with our class meeting. Now, virtual, our class meeting is more of a social time for that show and tell, telling me how they're doing, what they did in the evening, their homework they had, or their lessons they had on the class kick. So it is very real with us. The show and tell is very real every morning with us.
So you said you've been teaching for 31 years now. So, I mean, that means you got started in the early 90s teaching. Have you always taught the younger kids?
Yes. And I started out in first grade. And then from first grade went to pre-K. When I came to Sherman, I was in kindergarten the whole time. So this year, they bumped me up to first for virtual first.
So, I mean, you from the 90s, that's when technology really started getting into the classroom. So you've seen the progression from that, because I remember, being in elementary school in the 80s, that was, the first DOS computers. That was the first time I experienced any of those. And then you work your way up. So you've kind of gone through Windows, you've gone through all this, and now here we are doing full out classrooms online through video. Who knew that would ever happen?
Yes. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm just living history right now. It makes me think of my uncle grew up, they were in Atchlee, but my mom is 90 years old now. So this must have been mid 30s, late 30s, that Uncle Dewey had her out walking in Atchlee, and he told her, look at this box in the store window. This will be in everyone's home. It was a television. So I feel like I'm doing that now, living through the technology history. And like I was telling you, Dave, earlier about my student that presents to us on her phone on Kindle, it's amazing what's going on now with technology and what the kids know and how quickly they pick up on it.
Now, go ahead.
Well, I was just, because we were talking a little bit before we went live here on our websites and YouTube channels and Facebook pages and all that. And Mrs. Ryan, you were saying that you got your kiddos, they now understand some new terms in their vocabulary regarding all this virtual learning stuff.
They do. Our new terms are glitch, like glitches are real, and workarounds. And one of my kids got on with us as a lesson the other day, and his video wasn't working. The audio was, and he says, oh, hold on a minute. So then he came back, both were working, and he said, it's just a glitch. I found a workaround. So they're pros at this.
So let's talk about you having to adapt. I mean, because you taught for so long in a classroom, and now all of a sudden you're having to do it not in person with the kids. And especially when we're talking about, first graders, kindergartners, the younger ages. I mean, how have you had to adapt your teaching style to teach the little kids when you're not there to control it? Because I remember being a first grader, I was a nightmare student as a first grader. I can't even imagine a teacher being able to control me whenever I'm not even in the classroom. Like in here, I'm like looking elsewhere and doing other things. It's like, ooh, how pretty a phone. I'll mess with this instead. Like, how do you keep their attention?
Oh, they're great. It's all the kids. They are so good because you just tell them, like I was talking about our social time we have when we first get on our little meeting. And then we just say, well, it's time for our class now. Let's do some stretches. And then last thing we say, eyes on the computer. And they do. And then we still have our brain breaks. We have a couple and get up and move around for our brain break to get their attention again. So we've adapted.
So what's your main objective when it comes to the classroom? I know it's probably the same going from a classroom to a virtual classroom, but what do you try to accomplish every single morning when you log on?
First off, I want to, the academics are important. That is number one. But number one for me right now is just knowing the kids knowing that I am here. That someone's here for them. We have I was telling you about our PreService teachers we have. They're all here for them too. So that's my number one thing right now is for them to know that we're all here and this is our class, and just to have that feeling that we have in the classroom. And then the second, shouldn't say second, but anyway, it would be our reading and then our math and writing that they get them.
Now you're talking about your pre-service teachers. So and just so the people who aren't familiar with that, so you have your student teachers who are in college and they learn the stuff. So
yes,
pre-service teachers are the ones, I guess, who have gone through all of that process and now they're just waiting to take their test or something. How does that work?
Well, they will graduate May. All three of them are from Austin College. They'll graduate May. And they have had their experience in the face-to-face classroom. So this is their first time virtual also. And they are getting the hang of it too. and they're just doing very well. I'm very proud of all three of them.
So on your nomination form, and then we talked before we actually started our broadcast that a parent nominated you because, and they were very, very clear about this, that you volunteered to teach this distance learning, this online learning thing. So, I mean, that's one feather out there, but also it also talks about how many hours that you work on your lessons plan and do gradings and stuff like that, because this parent sees you post things at midnight or 5 a.m. because you want to make sure that the kids are able to cover all of the stuff that you need to cover, and that you constantly revise things to make things better in this time of doing the digital learning. And also that you are there she said something about that you're there like really early, just so the kids can just share mornings with you before the actual official class meeting time, so that they can talk, so they can get all that energy out of talking about, as you mentioned, getting all the energy, all talking about what they did overnight and the things that they did and all this stuff, and be excited about that. And then that's when you say screen time. You got to focus on the screen.
You are correct. I log on because I need to log on before they do on our Google Meet. And so I am on, and I basically wake up. I have a couple of kids that I think their devices are right there. So they log on saying good morning. And that makes me feel so good that I'm realizing that they do know that we're here for them. And that we do. We have they start logging on maybe about 8 o'clock, and we visit, and then they might turn their mic and camera off to go get breakfast and then come back and join us. So we start quite early.
They don't eat Wheaties anymore. It's all Fruit Loops and Cookie Crisp now, right? That's what they do on the screen.
Oh, yes. And one student has great oatmeal cookies. She was eating the day before for breakfast. Maybe her mom or grandmother cooked those, but they look delicious.
Hey, I will tell you this, though. My son came home yesterday and said that he had a bacon burger at school. So
oh, my goodness.
No, I'm going to come. Well, I can't right now, but I'd love to come have lunch with you.
Yes.
That sounds amazing. Well, congratulations to you, Mrs. Ryan. We're so happy for you being our October Teacher of the Month. And we're going to get you $750 from our sponsors. That's going to be heading your way. You're now eligible for the Teacher of the Year Award, which will be awarded in May. We'll have a virtual special announcement. We'll do it similar to what we're doing right here. So congratulations to you, Mrs. Ryan. But we do want to ask, and I know Dave asked this question and I asked this question even when we had our teachers come into the studios here at the One Grand Center before all this stuff happened over the last couple of months. But we want to know, Mrs. Ryan, what are you going to do with the $750?
My goodness. I need to start making my list, don't I? One thing that comes to mind, my kids need RAS Plus. It's a reading program online that they can go to. They have their level books they can read. So that's probably going to be at the top of my list.
That's awesome. That's teachers always putting it back into the classroom, or in this case, I guess, a virtual classroom. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, again, congratulations to you. We appreciate you taking time out of your day. We'll let you. Did you have to stop your normal teaching to come on here and talk to us?
Yes, we're usually doing small groups right now, but that's why I asked you earlier, Zach, about how they could watch. So they're probably all on Facebook right now watching.
Well, congratulations. We'll not take any more of your time so you can get back with your kids, because that's what you're there for. And again, we'll talk to you again in May when we do our Teacher of the Year thing. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, Pediatric Dentistry of Sherman, Knight Furniture, and also Parkway Buick GMC for making our Teacher of the Year program possible. Now, if you want to nominate a teacher, again, we open it up not only to school administrators and to other teachers, but also like we had here with Mrs. Ryan, we had a parent who nominated the teacher, and even students can go online and fill out the nomination form. Now, you can do that on either of the websites, either the Katy Country website there at 931kmkt.com, which you can see right there, or you can also do it over on the Mad Rock website as well at madrock1025.com. So again, on behalf of Katy Country and Mad Rock and Pediatric Dentistry of Sherman, Knight Furniture, and Parkway Buick GMC, we congratulate Mrs. Ryan on being our October Teacher of the Month, and we'll have another one probably a little bit earlier, though, because of Thanksgiving for when is it, Zach, for November?
Dave, I will tell you it's sometime in November.
Sometime in November. I put you on the spot. That's all right. But it'll be sometime in November. So get your nominations in right now, because the November teacher has not been chosen yet. So who knows? Maybe the person you nominate will be chosen for this next time around the next month, because we need nominations for November and December and January and so on. So you can go to either of those websites and make that happen. Anything we haven't covered, Zach? I think that's it, right?
No, congratulations once again to Mrs. Ryan. And like Dave said, just make sure that you nominate your teacher, your favorite teacher at 931kmkt.com or madrock1025.com.